All right, folks, let's go ahead and get started. Welcome to this month's IDMS Community Webcast. Before I hand you off to Sheila and the rest of the team, just a couple of things I need to cover. If you have questions, and as you know, we always hope that you do, please use the questions box along the right-hand side of your screen. We'll get through as many of those as we can during our time together today. If the team needs to do some research to get a better answer, or if we run out of time, I'll make sure they get everything they need to follow up with you. We are recording the session. That's why your lines are all muted. I'll probably get that replay out in the IDMS community either later today or sometime tomorrow, depending on how long it takes to process. And then the last thing from me is that we want to make sure these sessions are valuable. So a short survey is going to pop up at the end. If you could give us some feedback, I think we would all appreciate it. That's it for me. Take it away, Sheila.
Excellent. Thank you, Len, and thanks to everybody for taking the time to join us for our session today. And also thanks for your patience. I know we had to reschedule this webcast a couple of times due to conflicts. We appreciate that. My name is Sheila Miller. I'm an offering manager here at Broadcom, helping to set the strategy for our database products. And joining me today, a number of our team members. We have Tom Holinsky, who is a principal customer service consultant, Rajesh Mandava, who's our IDMS product owner, Dave Ross, our IDMS SME and software architect with a focus on our modernization solutions. And last but not least, Milt Whittam, who's our customer services manager. So thanks, guys, for your help and your support today on this webcast. All right, so before we get started, we are obligated to share our standard disclaimer slide stating that this presentation is for informational purposes only and is subject to change at any time without notice. So for the agenda, we wanted to share insight on an approach that we're taking to offer a collaborative workshop and customer engagements with a focus on our IDMS modernization offering. So we'll walk you through the concepts, the goals, expectations, and the ultimate outcomes. We'll touch on what we term as our use case universe and the possibilities to help spark some interest and some ideas along the way. And then we'll share a summary of proposed phases and then wrap up with the customer feedback and announcements at the very end. So with that, let's get into what we mean by the Embrace Open workshops and why we're doing this. So as we continue to have discussions with our customers on our product strategy, on the delivery of new capabilities and innovations in IDMS, we find that even though the concept and the benefit and the value of what we're doing is fully understood, oftentimes our customers and ultimately the end users just don't have cycles, they don't have the time, they don't have the support or really the appropriate skills to get things off the ground. So that challenge presented an opportunity for us to basically improve our user experience, our customer user experience. You know, by offering these interactive customer engagements, we can basically provide the help needed to get things started, basically getting you onboarded faster so that you can benefit from the investments being made in IDMS sooner. So these engagements are facilitated by the Broadcom team, primarily the folks that are on the call today, in collaboration with our customers. And these are like one-on-one engagements, so just that they can be customized along the way. And we'll talk about environment setups and things like that in just a minute. But one key point that we wanted to raise is that this engagement falls into the category of our Beyond Code offering, which is at no additional cost to assist with onboarding and addressing the learning curve challenges for our licensed customers. So that's always good news to hear. So with that, let's shift into the high-level workshop goals and outcomes. So we look at this as a journey together in partnership, taking a collaborative approach to basically enable our users to become more proficient in the innovations that we're delivering. So as part of this process, we'll work with you to fully understand your project goals and initiatives. We'll identify end-to-end use cases and associated business drivers. We'll identify critical success factors from functionality to usability, and we'll determine the right mix of team members on our side and also on your side to support the overall effort. So the key here is collaboration, and it's highlighted in the slide. Really working together to make sure that you're gaining firsthand knowledge and learning best practices from the time that you download through implementation until you're successfully using the functionality and benefiting from the intended value. So those are the key goals. The outcomes, once the engagement is complete, we do recommend establishing a checkpoint cadence to make sure that things are progressing smoothly along the way and that your experience is a positive one. So if it's not, we need to understand that as well. either how we can improve the process itself or to potentially fill a gap in the solution or the feature that you may be focused on. So after we do realize success, we would like to share that story with other users and to the the broader IDMS community to make sure that folks are aware of the value that we're bringing to the market, but also for them to have the same opportunity to succeed. So the ultimate outcome is really getting our customers comfortable with the new product, feature, functionality to make sure you can take it and hit the ground running upon completion of this engagement with our teams. All right, so let's share, we're going to share some use cases, just sample use cases that align with our Embrace Open capabilities. And like any project kickoff, it's important to have a plan before you get started, obviously identifying who's involved, why are we doing this, and really what are the pain points and technical or business drivers, and how we're going to get started, and what tools should we leverage to address the overall needs and requirements. So with that, this aligns with that other slide. This is a snapshot of where we align a sampling of common use cases, or the why, in the middle column for each persona, or the who, on the left side, along with the solutions on the far right on how we propose to address these needs. So the first 4 bullets in the first column align with different levels of DBAs, which could also include system programmers or system performance engineers. And typically their needs are around automating and simplifying database administration through scripting and user interface integrations, or optimizing operations through performance and tuning. And this is where our systems-based API comes into play. So the next level focuses on developers who are interested in maintaining existing applications with scripting and modern DevOps tools. And this is where our VS Code integration and our Zoe command line interface align. And then finally, the last section of the personas here, the API developers and web application developers, they're interested in the ability to leverage existing business data and exposing that data in the form of APIs to integrate with existing or new application, web applications, mobile applications, or any other distributed, customer-facing application. That could be an internal customer-facing application or an external customer-facing application. And the database business API generator is being developed for that reason, which will provide a VS Code extension to generate REST APIs. And that is in purple because it is currently in development. So this is just a sampling of the use cases that align with, the different personas. To take that a bit deeper, I'm going to turn things over to Rajesh to talk a bit more about the product functionality associated with with what I just shared. So Rajesh, over to you.
Thanks, Sheila. Hello, everybody. In the previous slide, you have seen some common use cases that highlight persona-specific opportunities and pain points, and our Embrace Open solutions that address those needs. On the workshop use case slide, you can see many potential onboarding scenarios. There are what we listed here are only some of the possibilities. I'll go over them with you and on the onboarding scenarios that we envision. For example, if you have new IDMS developers who prefer to use modern IDEs like VS Code or IntelliJ or Eclipse, we could help them on how to use our integrations with the new development tools to do IDMS application development. We also could show your application developers how to use IDMS plugin for Zoe CLI to simplify and automate administrative tasks by using command line interface to interact with the mainframe in a format familiar to them. We could show your DBAs on how to use our system REST APIs to manage or monitor your IDMS database, as well as build dashboards to view system and performance data and integrate with other tools like third-party tools and products to easily enable automated warnings and recommendations so that you can avoid critical system risks and outages. We also could show your API developers how to generate new business APIs that can leverage your business data so that your application developer, so that your application developers can develop new web or mobile applications faster and easier using the technology of their choice. We also could help your DBAs and developers in accessing network data using SQL and using the IDMS server to develop applications in Java, C, and C# using the ODBC or JDBC APIs. All these potential onboarding scenarios are customizable and help you adapt the new and existing IDMS solutions that address your specific requirements and business needs. Back to you, Sheila.
Excellent. Thanks, Rajesh. And as Rajesh suggested, these are just examples. That's why we call it a workshop use case universe, because when we go walk through the phases in the next couple of slides, you'll see where we would, it's basically customizable based on the outcomes of some of the phases that we'll walk you through. So at this point, I'm going to actually turn it over to Milt, who's going to walk through kind of an environmental, an environment setup, kind of just some initial thoughts on that. So Milt, over to you.
Okay, thank you, Sheila. Yeah, so we talked about a number of different use cases and different options. So this is where we kind of will help you, have the rubber meet the road. And really what it's about is, we will assist you. There's going to be a number of prerequisites initially that will need to be set up in your environment. We'll be there to help you. You're welcome. Our consulting team can certainly help you and help set up the environment, making sure you've got your SQL, if you need assistance setting up your REST services, getting those set up or getting the configuration in place. Any of these things we can help you with. Also, in addition, if you're considering things like the REST APIs and the dashboarding and these things, there'll be some additional requirements that will require, like for example, probably a Linux server or a Windows server that you're going to want to set up to to house your Grafana and your time series database like Prometheus. Also, if you're considering the Zoe CLI or the mediation layer for your APIs, and we'd also want to have Zoe kind of set up in the environment prior to beginning the workshops and things. And again, we'll be more than happy to help you with this particular area if you need some assistance. Once we have your environment in place and all of this is in ready to go, then what we would do is we begin to conduct a set of workshops. And I say a set of workshops because it may, there may be multiple discussions where we get together with you. We really now try to hone in on the use case and really kind of understand what it is, what the requirements are, and tailor the use case to fit your needs. And Rajesh talked about a number of use cases as well as Sheila. And so what we would do is spend the time to work with you to figure out, which one of these make the most sense, which one you're trying to achieve or wanting to complete. And once we've done that, then we'll kind of lay that out, we'll spec it out, we'll come up with a design for that, a design specification. We'll kind of figure out what the the current as is situation is and the to be situation where you want it to be. Lay all that out in advance. We'll work out all the coordinating of the details for the project and the people and the resources and the timelines. All those things get set up in this particular stage. And then of course, now it's the execution and where we'll come in and help you get this stuff set up. We'll do any configuration that needs to happen. If you're interested in some of the dashboards and things, we'll be able to help you get that set up. We even have some sample dashboards that we can share to get you started and get you going. And it's really all about getting this use case implemented. And and then of course, following with you as as we get this in place, as you begin to migrate this from your testing or development environments into your production environment. So really, that's kind of it's just kind of helping you through the whole process, and we'll be there for as much of that as you need us and to assist you along the way. Sheila.
Excellent, thank you, Milt. Appreciate it. So that basically brings us to our summary, and this will help kind of pull things together visually so that everything we just talked about will make a little bit more sense. I know the slide is blank right now, but it won't be in a second. This really provides visual of the phases that can be expected through the engagement. So as a phase one, initial step, we do propose revisiting the IDMS product strategy along with technical deep dives on the modernization capabilities that are available today with IDMS. So, just kind of defining what's possible. And this is really a good level set before we get into phase two, which is the use case, the discovery phase. This is where we'll learn more about the end-to-end use case or use cases, the critical success factors from functionality to usability perspective, and then the business drivers as well. And as Milta just suggested, we'll look at, what does your current process look like? What is that, what we term the as is, and the outcomes you're striving towards, of what we term as the to be, so that we can identify the use case that we'll execute upon. So leveraging the knowledge from the actual technical deep dive in the phase, and the rest of this use case discovery will help determine which mix of products we would then pull into phase 3, which is the environment setup, and some flavor of what Milt had suggested again with the environment setup. And then that would bring us to the more or less the end-to-end use case execution phase, where we'll provide the hands-on guidance, leveraging again whatever mix of products we decide upon as a team based on the use case outcomes of phase 2. So that's really in a nutshell kind of the phases that we envision for the end-to-end engagement. But once the workshop is complete, we do recommend establishing a checkpoint cadence to make sure that things are progressing along smoothly, to make sure that we're meeting your project needs, and ultimately that you're adopting the new functionality successfully. So there is a process, and it's not a cookie cutter process. In other words, like phase 1 will help us prepare for phase 2 findings, and phase 2 will dictate what phase 3 looks like, which will feed into our execute phase. So it's customized based on our customers' needs and our one-on-one conversations with you directly. So with that, I believe that wraps up the overview of the workshop customer engagement. But we did want to take a few minutes to get some feedback from the attendees through the polls that we set up. So I'm going to turn it over to you now, Lynn. The first poll being, do you feel that workshops will be helpful and useful preparing users for adoption of new functionality?
All right, I'm going to go ahead and launch it. And as always, folks, it does take a few seconds to get distributed, but I'll keep an eye on the votes. And once we see some votes happening, we'll says it's still distributing. All right, voting has started.
Fantastic.
People are still voting, so let's say another 15, 20 seconds.
Excellent. We appreciate the feedback.
Five more seconds, folks. All right, thank you very much for that one.
Fantastic. We have like 3 in a row here, so bear with us. Are you willing to participate in the IDMS Systems API Embrace Open Workshop? If yes, please contact me directly or note on at this time. And we hope that you say yes. We would like to hear from you. And we say Systems API, but it's really a mix of products depending upon, again, like we suggested, the use cases that you define. So.
All right, people are voting. Let's say another 10 seconds.
Thank you, Len.
Oh, people are starting to vote again, so we'll keep it going a little bit longer.
Take it. The more votes, the better.
Yes, exactly. Give us all the feedback, everybody.
Yeah.
All right, let's do 5 seconds now.
Yeah.
All right, thank you. And then Sheila, just so you know, for the next one, I actually had to do them individually because. But we'll still do them in order though.
All right, so I'm at this slide here. Can everybody still see my slide? I'm wondering, is that?
Yes, I can. Yes, I can.
Just to kind of walk through the poll then. This is not really related to the workshop per se, but it is related to our strategy and what we're looking at. But we're interested in learning what communication interface you use to access your IDMS systems. The options are there, pretty straightforward. If you use CICS with IDMS, do you? And the options are there. and then what language are your online IDMS applications primarily written in. And again, this has something to do with another initiative that we're looking at from a modernization perspective, and this feedback would be hugely helpful as we continue to look at our, do our analysis on this particular modernization feature.
All right, thanks, Sheila. So I'm going to launch the first portion, and we'll see how, again, it's distributing.
And we do appreciate the feedback, so thank you for taking the time. I may even put this out on the community as for a broader audience as well.
All right, people are voting. Let's say another 10 seconds or so. All right, that's it for that one. Now the second one. It says it's still distributing. Oh, there we go. Voting has started.
I always feel like we should have some soothing music playing, and then
I would sing, but that would be the opposite of soothing.
yeah, well, we should think of some carols, but I don't think anybody wants to do that either. So.
All right, people are still voting, so let's say another 10 seconds. All right, thanks very much, everybody. And the last one. All right, people are voting. Let's say another 10 seconds. All right, thank you very much, everybody.
Yes, thank you. It means a lot to have that feedback. We truly appreciate it. So thanks for taking the time. So I'm going to move into announcements. I just have a couple of quick announcements. The first one being for those of you who were unable to attend the Mainframe Technical Exchange back in October, there's still an opportunity to benefit from the on-demand sessions through February of 2023. When Lynn distributes this slide deck, there's a link to that right there in that little red. You can just hover over it and there's a link to that directly, so you can access that. And then secondly, I wanted to, on that same topic, we are already making plans for our upcoming Mainframe Technical Exchange for FY23 with a goal to host this as an in-person event in North America and EMEA in the calendar Q2-ish timeframe. So please mark your calendars and set aside some travel budget if possible to join us in person in FY23. There'll be more to come in the new year, in the January timeframes, more specific around plans and dates and all that good stuff. So we're really looking forward to getting back together in person finally and having that opportunity to network. So with that, I'm going to pause, Lynn, to see if there are any specific questions.
Sorry, I left myself on mute. No, there are not any questions. There are some comments about the polling, but I'll make sure you get all that, Sheila.
Okay, all right. So if there aren't any questions before we close out, please feel free to reach me or Rajesh. I did email most of the folks that had registered as of yesterday anyways. So you have my email address already. So feel free to reach out to either of us with questions that you may have after the fact. Again, we look forward to the opportunity to engaging directly with you. So I want to thank everybody for your time and consideration. Happy holidays to everybody. I hope you enjoy and be safe, and thanks again.
Thanks, everybody.